Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the totally fascinating transformation of one of the world's oldest games. Before the turn of the 20th century, chess was, well, it was mostly viewed as this intuitive, somewhat chaotic, and honestly, almost mysterious art form. Players were out there just relying on raw calculation, setting sneaky traps, and waiting for flashes of inspiration. But today, we're going to explore the life of a single guy who looked at all that chaos and basically decided to cure it. He took that wild, scattered landscape of 19th century chess and turned it into a rigorous, logical, and most importantly, a completely teachable science.
Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever been told to control the center? I mean, if you played even a super casual game of chess, or maybe just watched the quick beginner's tutorial online, you have definitely heard this exact advice. Control the center. Rooks belong behind passed pawns, right? These feel like the absolute universal truths of the game today. But actually, they weren't always so obvious. They had to be defined, rigorously tested, and then taught. When you hear these rules today, you are literally listening to the direct echoes of our historical subject's teachings.
And that subject is none other than Siegbert Tarrasch. Born in 1862, Tarrasch was an unbelievably authoritative figure in the chess world. Actually, he was so commanding, he earned this incredible nickname, the Lawgiver of Germany, or Preceptor Germaniae. And here's the thing, he didn't just want to win games. He wanted to take this deeply scattered game and systematically organize it into crystal clear principles. He genuinely believed that anyone, yes, anyone, could learn to play well if they just simply followed the laws. He built the exact foundation that beginners all over the world still rely on right now.
Now, what's really interesting to think about here is the connection between his two professions. And, in his mind, they weren't actually contrasting at all. By trade, Siegbert Tarrasch was a practicing medical doctor, and he approached the chessboard with the exact same clinical, analytical rigor that he used with his patients. It's like, just as a physician looks at a patient, identifies the symptoms, makes a methodical diagnosis, and then prescribes a treatment, Tarrasch did the exact same thing with chess positions. He'd look for structural weaknesses, diagnose the board logically, and boom, he'd find the cure. And let me tell you, his clinical methods absolutely worked. It sparked a timeline of just sheer dominance. Starting in 1888, Tarrasch went on an absolute tear. He won his first major international tournament, and then he just kept winning. 1890, 1892, all the way to 1894, securing his fifth consecutive major international tournament victory. There's no way around it. This unbelievable feat made him arguably the strongest chess player on the entire planet during this era. And that's even though he never actually managed to capture the official world championship title. His results proved without a doubt that his theories were spot on.
So the crucial point here is that Tarrasch didn't just play chess, he preached it. He created this incredibly strict pedagogy, codifying what we might call the Tarrasch prescriptions. First up, central pawn control. You absolutely must occupy the middle of the board. Second, rapid piece development. Get your army out there quickly. Third, active play. Don't just sit back and wait, you have to dictate the game. And above all else, chess is a game of logic, not luck. His promise was super simple. If you follow the prescriptions, the board will favor you. His principled, logical ways to play are so foundational that they are literally woven into the modern vocabulary of the game. I mean, multiple major chess openings still bear his name today. When modern grandmasters play the Queen's Gambit declined, they'll very often employ the Tarrasch defense. Or say, against the French defense, they might play the Tarrasch variation. He viewed these specific setups as the most practical, principled ways to play, and you can see his influence sitting right there on the board today.
And this brilliantly illustrates his true superpower. The guy was a remarkably gifted writer and just an extraordinary teacher. His seminal book, 300 Schachpartien, which translates to 300 chess games, it completely changed chess education forever. You see, before this, chess books could be incredibly dense, confusing, and honestly just unapproachable for normal people. But Tarrasch's didactic style brought this groundbreaking pedagogical clarity to the masses. He didn't just show you the moves he played, he explained the underlying laws governing those moves so you could actually apply them yourself.
But, as with any strict set of laws, a rebellion is kind of inevitable, right? To really understand the drama that would soon unfold, we have to look at the two clashing ideologies that battled for the soul of 20th century chess. On one side, you had the classical school. This is exactly what Tarrasch taught. You must control the center of the board directly by putting your pawns right there in the middle. On the other side, this new radical school emerged called the hypermodern school, and they believed something totally crazy at the time. You could actually let your opponent have the center and instead control it from afar using pieces on the wings.
And this brings us to a bitter, legendary rivalry. In one corner, we have Tarrasch, the ultimate defender of the classical school. He's clean, center-focused, authoritative, but also incredibly dogmatic. He really believed his rules were the absolute only correct way to play. In the other corner, we have Aaron Nimzowitsch, the rebellious leader of the hypermodern school. Nimzowitsch favored these cramped, eccentric positions, controlling the board from the wings. He absolutely hated Tarrasch's rigid dogmatism, and he ended up leading this massive ideological rebellion against Tarrasch's so-called laws. Simply put, these two men famously despised each other.
Their disdain for one another was just palpable right from the get-go. So picture this. In their very first game against each other, Nimzowitsch rolls out his eccentric hypermodern style. Tarrasch is sitting there, looking at a position that completely defied his classical rules, and he was so utterly unimpressed that he actually turns to the audience and drops this notoriously arrogant quip. He says, "I have never had a more winning position after only 10 moves." He openly mocked Nimzowitsch right there, entirely dismissing these new hypermodern ideas as total nonsense.
Let's move forward and see how this builds, because this bitter rivalry finally boiled over in the year 1914 in St. Petersburg. This was not just a chess game. This was the ultimate ideological clash of the century. It was a real-world high-stakes test of these two completely opposing chess theories. You had the dogmatic, classical master going head-to-head with the rebellious, hypermodern pioneer. The entire chess world was watching, waiting to see whose philosophy would break first on the board.
And man, on that day, the old doctor proved he still had the cure. Tarrasch demonstrated that his classic center-focused approach could still be absolutely lethal. As the game developed, Tarrasch diagnosed this critical weakness in Nimzowitsch's position. With clinical precision, Tarrasch executed a beautiful, just stunning double bishop sacrifice. He completely destroyed his opponent's defenses and won the game brilliantly. The lawgiver had spoken, proving the immense, enduring power of classical principles.
So look, while Tarrasch's absolute refusal to accept new ideas, like the whole hypermodern revolution, eventually made him a bit of a target for younger, modern players, his overarching legacy? It's undeniable. Sure, he was a man of his time, authoritative, and definitely sometimes rigid. But his contribution to the game's basic common sense is totally unparalleled. He is rightfully framed as the father of modern pedagogical chess. Literally, every single player who learns the game today, whether they realize it or not, stands firmly on the foundation of logic that Siegbert Tarrasch built.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quick question to consider about your own approach, whether that's in chess or honestly, just in life. Are you a classical player who loves to occupy the center directly, relying on time-tested rules and straightforward logic? Or are you a hypermodern player, preferring to operate from the wings, rebelling against dogmas to find eccentric, out-of-the-box solutions? Whichever you are, knowing the laws of the game is the first step to mastering it. Keep analyzing, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.